All right, let's head outside on this Thursday afternoon. You know, Sean earlier this week said it just keeps getting better and better every day. And boy, we continued that trend today, didn't we?
Yeah, but does the bubble burst? Is it gonna bust?
It can't last forever, but let's enjoy it while we can. Rob Ellis, boy, he got lucky today. Broke out of the studio, gets to enjoy it outside.
Yeah, how'd you get a water fountain?
I said, if I have to do weather today, I got to be outside. I put that demand in my contract. I said, if it's 70 plus, I'm outside. No, that's not true. Hey, look, it is absolutely stunning. It's been beautiful all week. Outside now, temperatures are into the 70s. It's good. Let me get to the weather first, because then we'll talk about why we're down here at the canal, of course, as you can probably already guess. But let's get right into it. Temperatures have been warm, 70s. That's where we're sitting currently. There have been a couple of stragglers into the 60s, but temperatures yesterday were into the 70s. We made it there again today, and I think we've got a couple of more days of that. Through this evening, fantastic weather. If you can get out and enjoy this evening, temperatures are beautiful. They are going to cool down a bit once we lose that heating of the day, and then overnight tonight down into the 50s. So you can expect that the temperatures will get a little bit coolish as we get into the overnight, losing that heating of the day. Should have mostly clear skies, by the way, for the lunar eclipse happening overnight tonight. And then for Friday, I know we've been putting you with an alert here for the possibility of some storms on Friday, but I want you to see that most of Friday looks pretty good. Temperatures will make it up close to 80. The record is 81 for tomorrow. We're going to do 79 or so, give or take a few degrees either side of that. So really expecting warm temperatures. You get all through Friday with very nice conditions. I want to drive that home, because once we get into Friday afternoon, that's when things will begin to change. You'll notice it in the winds, but also the severe threat. The severe threat will start to ramp up to our west. That's going to happen tomorrow afternoon and evening, and we'll get a little bit of that spillover as the storms move out of Illinois and eventually move into Indiana. Coming up, I'm going to talk a little bit more about that severe threat. But back out here live, we are talking about what's happening this afternoon and evening back out here at the canal in downtown Indianapolis. This is the 29th annual greening of the canal, the Hoosier Lottery greening of the canal. That's going to be happening at 5:30. It'll kick off at 5 o'clock with some guest speakers. The mayor will be here, and of course they'll pour in the die at 5:30 to see the canal turn green. Absolutely stunning weather for it. There's a little bit of a light breeze, but it's not going to be anything like what we're expecting tomorrow or into the next few days. I'll talk a little bit more about that severe threat coming up. In the meantime, just could not have better weather for the early part of March, middle of March. Looking pretty good out here right now. Send things back out to you guys in the studio. I'll be back out here with a look at that severe threat coming up.
Yeah, pretty good isn't good enough. You got to say pretty gorgeous, pretty glorious, pretty amazing.
Pretty all the things. Do I hear bagpipes, by the way?
Yeah, you do hear bagpipes. They'll have bagpipes out here a little bit later for one of the guests, one of the live events. But you also hear the birds. The birds were just going crazy out here earlier today. So all the sounds of spring.
Love it. All right, well, Rob, we'll check back. Thank you. I want to get to the latest now on this growing measles outbreak. Continuing to spread across the southern and western U.S., it has now reached nearly 260 cases in 3 states. And as the infection numbers rise, state health departments are urging people to get vaccinated. Measles was declared eliminated in the U.S. back in 2000. Since then, there have been an average of 179 reported cases each year, and vaccination rates have been trending down ever since COVID. Now, here in Indiana, we have not seen a confirmed case of the measles yet this year, but that's not stopping schools from making sure they're prepared.
Indianapolis Public Schools has announced they are proactive in their plans for students who are not vaccinated. They're implementing those. Our Marina Silva looks at what the state's largest district is doing to keep students safe.
At the start of the school year, Indianapolis Public Schools says they had 80% of their student population vaccinated. As of now, they're at 95% vaccinated.
We are doing a lot of preventative work because that's really important to make sure that if it does come to Indiana, we are not going to be susceptible. So the vaccination, making sure kids are vaccinated, has been #1 priority for us.
State law says students in Indiana must be vaccinated against the measles or have a waiver on file. Dr. Megan Carlson says she's been working with IPS to make sure student records are up to date.
We've been doing this the whole year, but we are making sure that our parents have all the information they need. They understand that if they choose, which is their right, to not get their child vaccinated, then they will be excluded in the event of exposure to measles
If IPS sees a case of the measles, a student who is not vaccinated would need to be quarantined for 21 days, meaning they would not be allowed in school.
The MMR vaccine, it is safe, it is effective, and 2 doses protects you 97%. Measles, at the end of the day, scares me a million times more than COVID does.
She's hoping students and adults alike make sure they are getting vaccinated. In Indianapolis, Marina Silva, 13 News.
And today, the Trump administration is looking for a new candidate to run the CDC. White House officials say they pulled Dr. Dave Weldon's nomination today, just before a scheduled hearing with the Senate Health Committee. The White House is saying it was clear Weldon's nomination would not have made it out of the committee. Weldon, who was in Congress for 14 years, has questioned the safety of vaccines. One of Indy's favorite conventions returns tomorrow.
That's right, Indiana Comic-Con. Thousands of visitors are going to be putting on their best sci-fi costume and heading downtown. And, every year, the highlights of this convention include meet and greet sessions with fan favorite actors and celebrities, including William Shatner. We talked with him a couple days ago. I also talked with Katie Sackhoff recently of Battlestar Galactica fame, among other shows. You have been involved in a lot of these projects. You've gone to events like this. What keeps you coming back?
I think it comes down to something so simple, and it's the interaction and the relationships with the fans. When I first started in this industry, I came out of theater, and that connection to the audience was something that I've always craved. And sci-fi conventions that are now conventions for so many other different things, but the convention circuit has always given me that chance to thank the audience and talk to them and get to know them, and I wouldn't trade it. It's wonderful.
What is it about the sci-fi genre?
It's what my dad raised me on. My dad and my dad's a huge movie buff, and he gave me that love of cinema and was, from a very young age showing me movies that I probably shouldn't have been watching. And I loved it. I ate it up.
What do you think the future holds for you? Are you going to continue to stay burning both ends of the candle, or are you going to slow down, or are you going to go to a different genre?
I don't see myself not doing this for the rest of my life. There is something so visceral that I get out of living the life of other people. And so much I've learned about humanity and myself by portraying other people and walking a mile in someone else's shoes. I can't imagine not doing it.
All right, Comic-Con starts tomorrow.
Awesome. Okay, we have a lot more ahead. A major announcement regarding Pete Buttigieg's political future and the larger possible implications.
And a new battle in the ever-growing trade war, the 200% tariff President Trump is now threatening. We'll tell you where.
Here's a check of traffic before we head to break. This is I-465 in Michigan Road.